If you've ever looked around an airplane cabin and wondered why certain things exist, strange hooks, tiny holes in windows, odd markings on wings, or parts of the plane no one ever explains, you're not alone. Millions of passengers fly every year surrounded by features they see on every single trip, yet almost no one actually knows what they're for. We get so used to them that we stop questioning them, assuming they're just part of the design, when in reality many of these features exist for very specific and sometimes surprising reasons. Some are related to safety, others to efficiency, and a few exist because of situations most passengers will hopefully never experience. What's interesting is that once you learn what these features actually do, you start noticing them everywhere, and suddenly airplanes feel a lot less mysterious and a lot more intelligently designed. In this video, we're breaking down airplane features everyone sees but almost nobody understands, starting with the most overlooked ones and working our way through details airlines never really explain to passengers. Before we dive in, take a moment to like this video if you enjoy learning how air travel really works, and subscribe to the channel for more behind-the-scenes explanations that make you a smarter traveler. Turn on notifications as well, because these small details can completely change how you see flying. By the end of this video, you'll never look at an airplane cabin, window, or wing the same way again. 1. The tiny hole in airplane windows isn't a defect. One of the most common airplane features passengers notice but rarely understand is the tiny hole at the bottom of airplane windows, and many people assume it's a flaw, damage, or manufacturing mistake. In reality, that small hole, often called a bleed hole or breather hole, plays a critical role in keeping the cabin safe during flight. Airplane windows are not made of a single pane. They are actually made of multiple layers, usually 2 or 3, designed to handle extreme pressure differences between the inside of the cabin and the outside atmosphere at cruising altitude. When a plane climbs to 35,000 feet, the air pressure outside drops dramatically, while the cabin remains pressurized for passenger comfort. The tiny hole helps regulate this pressure by allowing the air pressure between the inner and outer panes to equalize in a controlled way. Without it, pressure could build up unevenly between layers, potentially causing fogging, cracks, or long-term structural stress. The hole also serves as an early warning system. If the outer pane were to crack, pressure would escape through the bleed hole rather than forcing its way inward, preventing sudden failures. Another overlooked purpose is moisture control. Condensation naturally forms due to temperature differences, and the hole allows moisture to escape instead of collecting between panes, which would obstruct visibility and weaken materials over time. Passengers often think the window they touch is the one protecting them from the outside, but that inner pane is actually more of a protective shield, while the outer pane handles most of the pressure load. The hole ensures that system works exactly as designed. Once you know what it's for, you'll notice it on every flight, and it becomes a reminder that airplanes are built with layers of redundancy passengers never see or think about. 2. The hooks on airplane wings are not there for looks. Those strange hooks or loops you might notice sticking out near the back of airplane wings often look completely out of place, and most passengers assume they're decorative, unfinished parts, or leftover manufacturing components. In reality, these hooks are carefully engineered static discharge wicks, and they serve a crucial purpose during flight. As an airplane moves through the air at high speed, especially through clouds, rain, snow, or ice particles, it builds up static electricity along its surface. Without a controlled way to release that electrical charge, it could interfere with onboard instruments, navigation systems, and radio communications. Static wicks provide a safe exit point for that electrical buildup, allowing it to dissipate gradually into the surrounding air rather than discharging unpredictably. They're placed strategically along wing edges, tail sections, and control surfaces where airflow is strongest, ensuring the charge releases smoothly without affecting flight systems. Many passengers are surprised to learn that airplanes regularly accumulate electricity mid-flight, even in clear skies, simply due to friction with air molecules. Static wicks also reduce radio interference, which is why pilots rely on them for clear communication with air traffic control. Without them, pilots might experience crackling or signal loss during storms or turbulence. The reason these wicks look fragile or oddly shaped is because they are designed to break off safely if damaged, rather than harming the wing or affecting aerodynamics. They may seem insignificant, but losing too many can delay a flight until replacements are installed. Once you understand what they do, those little hooks stop looking random and start looking like silent protectors, quietly preventing problems most passengers never even realize were possible. 3. The triangle or markings above airplane windows. have a purpose. Those small black triangles or markings you see above certain airplane windows are another feature almost every passenger notices, but almost no one understands. And many assume they're random decorations or alignment guides with no real meaning. In reality, these markings are deliberate indicators, placed to help cabin crew quickly identify the best viewing points over the wings. These specific windows offer a clear view of critical wing components such as flaps, slats, and spoilers, which are essential to monitor during takeoff, landing, and in-flight abnormalities. Flight attendants are trained to look through these windows during key phases of flight to ensure everything on the wing is functioning properly. If a passenger reports a strange noise, vibration, or visible issue, crew members know exactly where to look because of these markings. Without them, identifying the correct window in a dark or crowded cabin would waste valuable time. These triangles are especially important during emergency situations, where seconds matter and visual confirmation can influence cockpit decisions. They are also used during routine checks when something doesn't feel or sound right. Even if no warning lights are active in the cockpit, passengers sitting near these windows might notice flight attendants glancing outside more frequently, especially during bad weather or turbulence, without realizing they're performing a safety check. The placement of these markers is carefully calculated during aircraft design, based on aerodynamics and wing geometry, not passenger convenience. Airlines rarely explain this feature because it doesn't directly affect comfort, but it plays a quiet role in safety and situational awareness. Once you know what these markings mean, you start noticing them on almost every aircraft type, and they stop looking random. They're a subtle reminder that airplanes are filled with visual cues designed to help trained professionals do their jobs efficiently, even when passengers remain completely unaware of what's happening around them. 4. The flexible wing design is completely intentional. One of the most unsettling airplane features for nervous flyers is how much the wings bend during flight, especially during turbulence or takeoff, and many passengers assume something is wrong when they see them flex upward. In reality, that flexibility is not only intentional, but absolutely essential to safe flight. Airplane wings are designed to bend, twist, and flex to absorb stress caused by lift forces, wind gusts, and turbulence. If wings were completely rigid, they would be far more likely to crack or fail under changing loads. Modern aircraft wings are tested to extreme limits, often bending upward far beyond what passengers will ever experience in real flight, to ensure they can handle worst-case scenarios. This flexibility allows the wing to distribute stress evenly along its structure rather than concentrating it in one place. Passengers often don't realize that lift itself places enormous upward force on the wing, and flexibility helps manage that force smoothly. During turbulence, the wing's ability to flex reduces how much motion is transferred into the cabin, making the ride safer and more comfortable overall. Engineers carefully calculate how much a wing should bend, and materials like aluminum alloys and composite fibers are chosen specifically for their strength and elasticity. The sight of a wing flexing can be uncomfortable, but it's actually a sign the wing is doing exactly what it was designed to do. Even during severe turbulence, the wing remains well within its structural limits. Airlines and manufacturers don't advertise this because it can make nervous flyers uneasy, but wing flexibility is one of the reasons modern air travel is as safe as it is today. What looks alarming is actually reassurance in motion. 5. The yellow hooks. Inside the cabin are not random handles. One airplane feature passengers see but almost never question is the small yellow hooks or metal fittings embedded in the cabin walls near doors and exits, often blending into the interior and going completely unnoticed. These hooks are not decorative, and they are not meant for passengers at all. They are designed specifically for flight attendants to secure themselves during emergency situations. In severe turbulence, aborted takeoffs, or emergency landings, cabin crew are trained to strap into designated jump seats, or, if necessary, brace using these fittings with special restraint straps. These hooks allow crew members to remain upright, mobile, and ready to assist passengers immediately after impact or sudden stops. Unlike passengers, flight attendants are expected to move quickly during emergencies, and these fittings provide stability while keeping their hands free. They are positioned carefully based on evacuation flow paths, door locations, and aircraft certification requirements. Passengers sometimes mistake them for coat hooks or damaged fittings, not realizing they are part of a carefully regulated safety system. During certification, aircraft manufacturers must prove that crew members can safely brace in multiple positions, depending on the type of emergency. These hooks are part of that proof. They are also used during training simulations, where flight attendants practice emergency landings and evacuations under realistic conditions. Airlines don't explain this feature because it relates to scenarios passengers aren't supposed to think about during routine flights. However, Their presence highlights how much planning goes into crew safety, not just passenger comfort. Every visible object in the cabin has a purpose, even the ones that seem out of place. Once you know what these hooks are for, they stop looking random and instead represent how seriously aviation treats preparedness, even for events most flights will never experience. 6. The curved cabin walls and ceilings improve safety and strength. The rounded shape of airplane cabin walls and ceilings is something passengers see on every flight but rarely think about, often assuming it's purely a design choice or aesthetic preference. In reality, the curved interior of an aircraft is a direct result of engineering decisions focused on strength, pressure management, and safety. Airplanes operate in environments where the outside air pressure is dramatically lower than inside the cabin, and maintaining that pressure difference requires a structure that can withstand constant outward force. Cylindrical shapes are far better at handling pressure evenly than flat surfaces, which would experience dangerous stress points. The curved fuselage distributes pressure smoothly across the aircraft body, reducing the risk of cracks or structural fatigue over time. This design also allows the aircraft to be lighter while remaining strong, which improves fuel efficiency and performance. The interior curvature you see is essentially the inside of a pressure vessel, similar to how submarines are built to withstand deep ocean pressure. Flat walls would require much thicker materials, adding weight and reducing range. The curved ceiling also improves airflow within the cabin, helping air circulate more evenly from overhead vents to floor-level returns. This contributes to better temperature control and air quality during long flights. From a safety standpoint, curved surfaces also perform better during impact scenarios, dispersing forces rather than allowing them to concentrate in one area. Even overhead bins follow this curvature to maintain structural integrity. Passengers may find straight walls more familiar, but curved cabins are a compromise between comfort and physics. Airlines rarely mention this because it's built into every aircraft design and rarely questioned. Once you understand it, the cabin stops feeling like a room and starts feeling like a carefully engineered shell designed to protect everyone inside at 35,000 feet. 7. The seat cushion is designed to be used as a flotation device. One of the most well-known yet least understood airplane features is the instruction that your seat cushion can be used as a flotation device, something many passengers laugh at or assume is outdated. In reality, this feature is still very real and carefully regulated. Airplane seat cushions are made from special buoyant foam designed to float in water while supporting an adult's upper body. In the event of a water landing, passengers may need immediate flotation before life vests are accessible or inflated. The cushion provides that temporary support. It is intentionally lightweight, sealed, and shaped to trap air, ensuring it stays afloat even when soaked. The fabric covering is also designed not to absorb excessive water. While life vests are the primary flotation device, seat cushions act as a secondary backup in case of equipment failure, panic, or limited access. Aviation safety regulations require redundancy, meaning there is always more than one way to achieve survival goals. The cushion's buoyancy is tested during certification, just like other safety equipment. Passengers often underestimate how quickly chaos can unfold after an emergency landing, and having an immediately reachable flotation aid can make a significant difference. Airlines don't emphasize this feature because water landings are extremely rare, and discussing them can increase anxiety. However, the seat cushion's design remains intentional and unchanged across aircraft types. Even modern slimline seats maintain flotation capability despite thinner padding. This requirement ensures that every seat still provides buoyancy even as cabin designs evolve. What seems like a joke instruction is actually a serious safety measure backed by testing and regulation. Once you understand this, the safety briefing sounds less absurd and more like a carefully planned backup for unlikely but possible scenarios. 8. The red and white stripes on wings are visual safety markers. Those bold red or red and white striped markings painted on airplane wings often catch passengers' attention, especially when looking out the window during boarding or taxiing. Yet few people know why they exist. These markings are not branding, decoration, or paint leftovers. They are visual safety markers designed to prevent serious ground accidents. Airport ground crews work extremely close to aircraft during refueling, loading, inspections, and maintenance. Jet engines, wing edges, and control surfaces can be dangerous even when the aircraft is parked. The high-contrast stripes highlight areas where it is unsafe to walk, stand, or place equipment. They provide instant visual warnings, even in low-light conditions, rain, or fog. These markings are standardized so ground personnel across different airports and airlines instantly recognize hazard zones. Without them, workers would rely only on training and memory, increasing the risk of injury. The stripes also help pilots visually confirm wing orientation during taxiing, especially at night or in poor visibility. They assist marshalers and tug operators in maintaining proper clearance around the aircraft. From above, These markings can even help rescue teams identify aircraft orientation during emergencies. Passengers rarely hear about this because it doesn't affect the in-flight experience, but on the ground, these markings play a critical role in daily operations. Aviation safety is built on layers, and visual cues like these reduce human error in busy, high-pressure environments. The reason they look bold and almost excessive is because subtle markings fail when conditions are less than ideal. Once you notice them, you'll start seeing them on nearly every commercial aircraft, quietly preventing accidents that never make headlines. 9. The black marks on the cabin floor are not dirt or damage. One airplane feature passengers frequently notice but almost always misunderstand is the presence of black marks, lines, or reinforced strips on the cabin floor near exits and galley areas, which many assume are stains, wear, or poor cleaning. In reality, these markings and materials are part of a highly regulated safety design. The flooring near exits is reinforced and treated differently because it must withstand extreme stress during emergency evacuations. In a real evacuation, hundreds of passengers may rush toward exits simultaneously, applying sudden force, dragging luggage, or stepping unevenly in panic. The floor in these zones is designed to resist tearing, slipping, and structural failure under intense pressure. The darker areas often indicate anti-slip coatings that improve traction, especially if the floor is wet from rain, spilled drinks, or firefighting foam. These materials are tested to ensure passengers can maintain footing even in chaotic conditions. The marks may also highlight areas where emergency lighting strips are embedded beneath the surface, guiding passengers toward exits in low visibility or smoke-filled cabins. Over time, repeated use, heat exposure, and foot traffic can make these areas appear worn, but they remain structurally intact. Airlines don't replace them for cosmetic reasons because the material is performing exactly as intended. Cleaning crews are trained not to remove or damage these surfaces, even if they look imperfect. Passengers rarely realize that the cabin floor is not a single uniform surface, but a system of zones designed for different functions. What looks like neglect is actually evidence of reinforcement. Once you understand this, those marks stop looking like flaws and start looking like signs of preparation for worst-case scenarios that most flights will thankfully never face. 10. The oxygen masks are designed to look simple on purpose. One of the most recognizable airplane features is the oxygen mask, yet almost no passengers understand why it looks and functions the way it does. The design is intentionally simple, almost basic, because it must work instantly for people of all ages, languages, and physical abilities under extreme stress. During a loss of cabin pressure, passengers may experience confusion, panic, or reduced cognitive ability within seconds. Complex instructions or complicated equipment would be dangerous. That's why oxygen masks are designed to be intuitive. Pull, place, breathe. The system does not require electrical power at the moment of use. Instead, it relies on a chemical oxygen generator that produces oxygen through a controlled reaction when activated. This ensures reliability even if other systems are compromised. The masks are also designed to provide sufficient oxygen for emergency descent, not for the entire flight. Many passengers mistakenly believe they are faulty when oxygen flow seems weak, but that is intentional. The system is calibrated to deliver the right amount of oxygen to keep passengers conscious until the aircraft descends to a safe altitude. The elastic straps, loose fit, and lightweight construction allow masks to fit a wide range of faces quickly. Airlines emphasize putting your own mask on first because even short delays can render a person unable to help others. The mask's appearance hasn't changed much over decades because the design works. Simplicity reduces failure points and training requirements. While they may look outdated or flimsy, oxygen masks are one of the most carefully engineered emergency tools on board. Once you understand their purpose and limitations, they stop looking like props and start looking like precisely designed life-saving equipment. So now that you know what all those familiar but mysterious airplane features actually do, it becomes clear that almost nothing on board exists by accident. Every hole, mark, curve, stripe, and piece of equipment you see is there because of safety rules, physics, or lessons learned over decades of flying millions of people around the world. What once looked random or cosmetic is actually part of a carefully engineered system designed to keep flights predictable, efficient, and safe, even in situations passengers never witness. The next time you step onto an aircraft, you'll probably notice these details instantly, and instead of wondering if something looks strange, you'll understand why it's there. If this video helped you see airplanes in a completely new way, make sure to hit the like button, because it helps the channel reach more curious travelers who enjoy learning how aviation really works. Don't forget to subscribe for more behind-the-scenes airline explanations, travel rules, and details most passengers never hear about, but definitely should. Turn on notifications so you don't miss upcoming videos that can make you a smarter, calmer, and more confident traveler. And if you know someone who flies often, but never questions these things, share this video with them, because once you learn these facts, it's impossible to unsee them. Thanks for watching, safe travels, wherever you're headed next, and I'll see you in the next video. Your support allows this channel to keep creating honest, research-backed content without hype, fear, or exaggeration, focusing on real explanations that help everyday travelers feel informed instead of confused, anxious, or misled when they step into airports, board flights, and experience air travel from a smarter perspective while understanding the hidden design choices most passengers overlook entirely until someone finally explains them clearly in simple human terms.